The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, welcome to the weekly Noyantis Usergroup meeting. Today is 14th of September 2020. Myself and John are your hosts, and actually Wengel, who's part of the development team here, is also here as well. Now we've got a couple of questions. We've got a couple of questions for this week already posted in, but as always, if anyone's got any questions or queries, feel free to raise your hands or type in the question box, and we will have a look and answer them accordingly. Just before we jump straight into Mark and Bill's questions, which are the two which we've already got emailed in, updates. So the last week I promised there'd be updates onto the docking pane and the report control. There are updates. They have been updated this afternoon, so they are available now as we speak. Just checking one thing on the other screen. Yeah, all looks good. So basically, I think it was something like a week ago, maybe 8-10 days ago, something like that. CodeJock released version 19.3, which is a bit faster than their normal release, to be honest. But yes, basically they released a new version. I don't think it's a major release. I think it's only a few fixes, and really I think they're focusing on that you can compile icons in and so on and get some really nice icon quality on your controls and your command bars and things like that. But they are also now building heavily in the vector graphics as well, or vector icons, vector images. So I think this is a bit of more of a maintenance release from that point of view. But nonetheless, all of the controls are updated. So new versions are available for download. The only ones where the new version of the template, if you will. So they've all gone up a version in number, i.e. the calendar has gone from 414 to 415 and the chart's gone to 407 to 408, things like that. The command bars, which is in dev, I'm just getting my list here, where are we? Command bars, report control and docking pane. They haven't gone into today's release, but they will. One will be, if not both, will be released tomorrow afternoon. By both I mean report control and docking pane, because in the next build they're going to be released together. Those two, there's a lot more tying in together of that particular content. More on that next week when they're released and you can get your hands on it, and then we can cover the actual content. But yes, we've got a meeting tomorrow afternoon, which Wengel and I are working flat out on trying to get some stuff ready for it. Which will be actually some nice stuff. I might demonstrate the usage of it. It's to do with building in questionnaires and forms, maybe medical forms or that kind of thing, electronic forms into your application. So yeah, we'll see about demonstrating that next week during the webinar. But yes, basically the 19.3 compatibility updates have been released and are available now as we speak. The docking pane and report control will be continued and possibly released tomorrow afternoon, and that is after our meeting at 3 o'clock, so maybe 4 o'clock. So if I get a couple of hours after that to finish off, then you can expect to see them then. I know people like I can see some names here, Steve and so on, who are desperate to get their hands on the newer docking pane, and you will do. There's a couple of fine tunes I'd like to just finish off on it, and it's to do with refreshing of the child controls, and I've reworked some of the other internals as well. And that's the only reason why it's just not gone into today's build. So you will get them as early as tomorrow afternoon, failing that Wednesday, and so on. Command bars will follow, but there's still some more work to do on getting that ready. So I'm not going to put a time on that just yet. This week you can also expect a Chilkat release because there's some more new things added to the Chilkat wrapper mainly to do with the accounting APIs, but a couple of other fixes and extra functions in some of the others, like the XML and JSON classes. Okie dokie. we've got a quick question off off Bill. Is that Bill? Let's open the microphone up. Are you there? Bill, it's saying you're self-muted. That's okay. Mic's open if you want to. What he's referring to here is his quick question is Drupal, which is if anyone uses the HTML editor. It was originally from a company called NBit, and then they rebranded. Let me just bring it in. This isn't the big question. Ah, you're there. Hi, Bill. How you feeling?
Hello.
You okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm hanging in there.
Very good.
You know, have to every 3 weeks is a new challenge.
But like that was my development.
Yeah, but yeah, no, Drupal. I got an email from them this morning, and their SpellCheck OCX is on sale for $55 instead of $85. So,
and apparently
$30 discount. I haven't got it implemented yet, but
well, here's the thing. I'm you know the golden rule is I never hide the fact if we need it in our software, it kind of jumps the queue a little and so on, and that does drive on some of the new features which we all use. But the questionnaire facility which we're building in to schedule it, which I mentioned a minute ago, that also uses the HTML editor. Now currently it's using the older one, which is the legacy, what we see here, but I'm going to switch it to using the newer one, which is not the print. Where is this HTML? Oh, there. Oh, no, it's a viewer. There is an ActiveX editor. No, that's the old legacy one. Oh, there. So it's a whole option in its own right, the ActiveX. So that's the newer version. The last one was something like 3.2.3, and then they jumped up to version 5 for the newer one. But the spell checker is supposed to be compatible with both versions, both the older NBit 3.2 whatever, and the newer Drupal rebranded, which is an actual brand new control. So it is much better than the old one, I have to admit.
Yeah, it's pretty. What playing around with it I've done is I do some stuff where we print out window stickers for boats and RVs and things like that.
Yeah.
And in one of the boat, you know, they'll have the boat itself, and then maybe up to 3 engines and a trailer. So you got to use tables in order to put that together. With the make, model, serial number, and that type of thing. Each one of those is a field and a table.
Got you. Yep.
And it looks like their new control allows you to programmatically put those in, and I think it's going to work okay for what we're doing for printing those out.
Well, we've already started to add the support for the new one. So the latest version of the template does start to include the support for it, but officially it's not fully supported yet. But it is coming on, and so on. So it will be. The template will just be a general upgrade. So, but I think the actual control you do have to pay for. There is an upgrade price. Yeah, I was going to say there is an upgrade price. Now, Richard, who owns Drupal Tech, he normally gives us a 35% discount for existing license holders. Now, Richard normally gives us basically a discount, which we pass directly on to you guys. We never try and cream off the top, so to speak. I'll check if there is any discounts we get from the upgrade point of view, and if there is, then I'll just put a link on our website where we can just order it via that mechanism, and so on. But to go back to your HTML, so the spell checker, we are going to need this sooner rather than later in our own applications. So I'm going to be looking at that hand in hand while I'm working on the command bars update. That's going to be being developed because we need it from an application point of view. So you can expect support from that, support for that relatively soonish. As in probably, I wouldn't necessarily say September, but definitely within the coming weeks, you can expect the support for that.
Well, that'd be good.
So
yeah, I was trying to look and see what he charged me for that editor. I got it a while back, so.
We've got a license for it, obviously, because we're deving it. And as I say, it's good. I've noticed a couple of funnies where I need to maybe do some workarounds and things like that, but that's, there's definitely nothing alarming yet, and it does look promising. So we'll be making the switch across as soon as I've finished the support for it.
Well, he's real good to, if you send him, you send him an email and he gets right back with you. So.
But yeah, he generally has been for quite a while, to be fair. And these controls are pretty good as well.
Existing Zoopal customers receive a 25% discount per developer seat.
Right, I think he's now taken that to 35.
Maybe I did this back looks like last year or earlier this year or somewhere. I can't find the receipt now, but
yeah, the only mind you guys potentially could be onto a win-win scenario here, because as a dealer he gives us a discount. As I say, we don't keep anything of that, and we pass that discount straight on as we bundle it with our wrapper template. So you will, for the existing end bits, you wouldn't have paid the full price anyway. You'll have paid a discounted dealer price, and then to get another discount over the top from an upgrade, that's a pretty good deal, to be fair. So,
here it is. He gave me existing customer. Okay, he gave me a 35% discount on the price of a new license. So I ended up from $149 US. He gave me it for $97.50 for the upgrade to the ActiveX.
Cool. Oh, very good. No, very good.
And that's for the new one that you're talking about there.
Yeah, and as you say, and how we got onto this is emails have gone out, and I got mine today as well, regarding the spell checker, and that is, I think he's got it on discounted from 85 down to, it says 99, but I'm sure the email said it was only 80 odd. Where's my email?
Well, online it shows 99, but on the email it said 89.
Yeah. Oh, inline is separately at $84.95, although existing customers can have it for $59.95. You just have to follow the discount link. So that's a pretty good deal, and we all do expect, underlining of in red where the spelling's incorrect and so on. Especially in this day and age, you have it on your phone. Your applications are kind of expected to have it. So that's what we'll be making sure that we support sooner rather than later as well.
Yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd mention that in case somebody else was looking for that type of control, because I think it'll work in other things other than just the Zoopal stuff. I may be wrong. But
I don't know on that. As soon as I get my hands on it and play about, I will report back as well to if we can tie it into, it'd be lovely if we could tie it into like a text or control or something like that. That would be really nice. You got me thinking now. Okay, leave that with me.
All right.
Okay, so we have two questions that I know of. One is from Mark. Oh, just trying to get the other questions now. Okay, well, Mark, we're going to come to you regarding SMS, text messaging, but you also got to mention on that. So the microphone's open, Mark, if you want to. It's reporting you're self-muted.
Let's see.
Oh, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep. It sounds a little strange, but we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I can put my headphones on, but if you can hear me okay this way, that's great.
Oh, sorry, say again, Mark. It's not quite.
Yeah, but if you put my headphones on. Let me put these on.
Can you hear me better now?
That does sound better, yes.
Yeah. I put my headphones on. So yeah, my question is, we kind of been going back and forth, but is just the SMS text implementation using Chilkat.
Okay.
I'm just just having a little difficulty with getting that going, and I did get it working with the CapeSoft, so I know that my account was good because originally texting with the test account that they give is very unreliable. They said probably because they wanted the $20 to sign up, but I do have that working. So now I'm really focused on wanting your feature to work. So.
Yep, okay. So let's just, I'm just going to quickly compile up. Not sure why it's recognized so many template changes, but that's okay. I'll just compile this and we'll go into the example.
Sure.
Okay. So going to SMS, I'm going to choose, I think it was Twilio is the provider. Yep.
See, I see one thing. To ask you a question on that, the telephone number that you have there, is that your Twilio account number?
That one, that's the number that it's going to go from. Yes.
Oh, okay. So maybe let me just bring mine and do the same thing. Let me add, so I'm going to go to my SMS. I've got it compiled. So the front number is the Twilio account number, and the top number is my number.
Well, just going to take a look here now. So I'm just going to go into my Twilio account as well because it's where it should be under development. Where are we? Going to just go into it on the other screen, make sure I don't divulge any private information, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
What you will get, and it's just going to send me a code to make sure I am who I am. There we go. Okay, so yep, I've gone into I'm just going to see where not billing and notification, I'm after a particular account. Because what you'll get, and I'll find it in a second, is you will expect different gateways have different terminology. So say, for example, bulk SMS, they provide you a token ID and a secret. Boom SMS provides you a username and a password. Plivo, different again. So I try and tie it in from an example point of view as to their terminology. So they would expect they would pass you an account SID and an authorization token, which of course you would paste into these, and we'll look at the code you would need in a second. Then you've got the destination number you're going to go to, and the number it's coming from, and of course the message. So we put hello world, that kind of thing. If I quickly connect, yep, that's fine. Send something.
Wow.
Hopefully we should hear, and hopefully you heard that. That was my phone saying hello world. Yeah. And it's very similar, and we'll cover the code in a second. It's very, very simple. But it's the same with if you want to send a batch of messages. So we've got a connect. I've got so we've got our connection. Same thing. We connect with these SID and authorization token, and then I just have some messages to go from to build a queue. And then I'm just going to send from a queue instead of send singular, because you could just do it, send one at a time. Very, very simple. But it does have the facility to send from a queue. So all of the from numbers have to be the same, because that is your from number from Twilio's point of view. That's your account number, the telephone number, if you will. And these are the numbers that it's going to go to, and they're the different messages. If I send on that, and I happen to have both phones at the side. Okay, here we go. So you get the idea. And while we've got that connection open, what we can do is we can go and query the queue. So that queue is obviously gone. It knows what the initial status was, so they're queued. And if we refresh all, then we can see they've been delivered to that phone, which is correct. That, of course, it's not been delivered. I've got my French SIM card in there, yes. But if I put the other English SIM card in the phone, then that will all go to delivered. So it's a good test, actually, for what I'm showing there.
Right.
That, this number haven't been delivered yet, and that's true. The SIM card isn't in the phone, so that's a true reflection of the status. And of course, you could refresh that or singular. So it depends on your code. So they're really the only credentials you need. So to go back, the credentials really are your SID and your auth token, and your Twilio from number.
Right. Now I see one difference. Your wrapper template is 1.23e. Mine is 1.22.
Oh, that's because I'm constantly working on it. Yes.
Okay.
This bit hasn't changed for quite a while.
Okay.
No, it's the other things I've been working on quite a lot are some new task classes, but also the accounting. Xero and QuickBooks have both had quite a few changes. So that's why I move on. I'll go on the number. The minute,
I gotcha.
Like for example, we've just sent up Chart Pro today, gone from 407 to 408. I do actually need to do some changes to Chart Pro to include the 3D graphs, or 3D charts.
Right.
So now that will go to internally. That will go to 409A, and the ABC is nothing more than the internal marker to know that every time I go back to it, I just increment it. But I don't want to move the numbers on because you guys, you think you're miles behind, and truly you're not. So that's just an internal marker.
Okay. Now, so I'm still getting. Now, I see your SID and your token. You're pulling those from the properties that you have in the data fields?
No, so I'm just in my dashboard here on Twilio. So I'm just trying to find the settings where I can at least get a screenshot or something like that. So there's the SID. I don't particularly want to.
Yeah, because I'm getting the unable to connect to SMS gateway. So I've changed my numbers so that the telephone number on the top is mine. The second number, the from, is the Twilio. And I click the connect button and it says unable to connect to the SMS gateway.
Right, give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna. Oh, that's a highlighter. I'm trying to get block something else so you can't see some information.
Yeah.
No. Okay. That's a shame. It's not really letting me to block it out. But basically, if you go into your Twilio account, go to settings, and under general settings, you would have an account SID.
Right.
Like mine starts with ACB7, so on and so forth. So it's just your account ID. You'll then get an authentication token, which you can rotate within there as well.
Okay.
So you'll get that, and you'll get actually two sets of tokens. To be fair, you'll get test credentials and live credentials. So that's that. But you should also have your phone number. So I'm just trying to here.
Yeah, I definitely have all three of those, and and they do work. Like was I saying on the CapeSoft, it's embedded in the code. Whereas in your app, I select the procedure text SMS, and then I click on the data tables tab on the left, and I see that there are.
Chilkat key in. Sorry to jump in there. That was quite rude of me, but it just dawned on me then. It might be that the control either isn't registered or it's not initialized. So have you put your credentials in? So basically, on the global extension,
I'm
using reg3com. If I'm using reg3com, then I would go to the ActiveX and I would put my license code in there.
Yeah, I have that in there too. That was one of the first things I didn't have correct, so I figured that out.
Can we take a quick look at your screen then?
Sure.
Yeah, make it Let's get that. And Bill is the next question regarding an app design. So Bill, we're going to do something very similar with yourself regarding jumping on the screen, and let's have a look at what you're trying to achieve. That's cool.
Show which screen?
Oh, I don't know. You have to tell me that.
Yeah, show my screen. Which screen do you see?
At the moment, nothing. Oh, we see a desktop. We see the recycle bin in the top left.
Okay, so we need to move. Okay, now you can see. Okay, we need to move. There's my. Let me move my app down to this page. Okay.
Okay.
So here's the app. Now, is this okay? So this is the sample app.
Well, let's just and you might want to just hit the pause button in a second, but let's just go into global extensions.
Okay.
And onto that, yeah. Version 8.3, okay, yeah. Register, use reg3, okie dokie. Activate.
And then,
now you've got don't divulge that because it's going out to everybody. But that's your Chilkat license, which you would have got an email off them. Now it usually starts with, I think, the product name or the registered name, like mine starts NOYA.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's great. Showing up on there. Yeah. I do have that.
Okay. Cool. Very good. Let's go to your global properties.
Global extensions.
No, next one. Global properties.
Okay. Global.
Oh no, sorry. No, cancel that one. On your tabs, you've got the app tree, and then you've got global properties.
Let's see, on my app tree here, global properties.
No, not that one. Sorry, no, cancel that. And the second tab.
Oh, global properties. I'm sorry.
Yep, no problem. Actions. And application settings. And I'm after the manifest settings. So the second tab, and then application manifest. Just quickly check that. Generate. Looks good. Looks fine. Is the let's go to that working folder then, where the exe is going to run from.
The working folder. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so you're in there.
Right.
It's a Chilkat. I can see a manifest there, which is good. If you just double click that for me, please. Okay, looks good, yep. And if we go to the other manifest, so I can see chilkat.exe.manifest.
Let's see, chilkat.exe, here it is.
Yep. And that says that it does need the other version, so that's good. So that's no problem. The dependent assembly is in there. So now let's just go up. Do you have the actual Chilkat DLL in that folder?
The Chilkat DLL.
It would have come from your Chilkat install.
And it probably is not in here.
Then that's why it's not initializing.
So where would I find that location?
Okay, if you go to Program Files, Program Files x86.
Okay. And Chilkat?
Chilkat, yep.
Okay.
In there, yep. And if you just right click on that for me, just to do properties, just want to check the version is the 8.3. I don't think it'd be a problem, to be fair, anyway. Have we got details?
We got. Did you want preview the versions or?
No, I thought we normally get details. No, that's no problem. It's just a.
Okay.
Okay. So if we could just copy that across to.
Okay, to where the program is.
Yeah.
Oh, copy. Okay, paste.
Now just try running your application again.
Okay. Look at that. Haha. Message sent. And received. Awesome. That was it.
Okay, well, let's just quickly recap what that was, because might just catch you out on others, and other people hopefully attending might. It's a good tip for them. So we're using Reg3Com there, and
Yeah.
the basically, which is definitely the way I recommend you use the controls. You don't have to. You can have your installers like Setup Builder register the controls, or you can have the actual application register the controls for you. But if you use Reg3Com, that gets you around any kind of security issues and so on and so forth. So it's by far the better option to use. You do need Clarion 9.1 onwards, which you evidently, you're on that already. But there's just some considerations to do. So if you just go back to your global extensions for me, because you'll have to do this in your main application. So you would want to, you just go onto that for me then, and register. So as you've put there, we've got use Reg3Com. So that what that does is it tells the application, it tells our template to create a dedicated manifest file for the Chilkat control. It also modifies your application's manifest to tell that to make it aware of the extra manifest, if you will. So there's a bit of linking going on, so to speak. So that's good. You'll need that turned on. And this is not just for Chilkat. This is for CodeJot. This is just for ActiveX in general, for our templates implementation anyway. So you will need that set to use Reg3. You've got that. You'll need your license code compiling in, and you've done that. So don't go to it now, but you've got that. Press OK on that. And just while you are familiarizing yourself and getting used to it, if you go back to the global properties, the second tab, go to your actions, and then the second tab again, where it's an application manifest. And on there, you've got the generate manifest. Now, normally you would have the link turned on as well, but just while you're familiarizing yourself, just untick the link so that you can see that the two manifests have been created, which is exactly what we did a second ago. So you press OK on that.
All right.
Go to your working folder, because that's from a development point of view, that's all you have to do from a Reg3. And in the working folder, your dev folder, you would need the control in question, which is the Chilkat 9.5, so on and so forth, or if it was the CodeJot command bar, it would be the CodeJot command bar OCX. It would be the control itself. Then you would need your application manifest, which is it was chilkat.exe.manifest a second ago.
Manifest,
Yep.
Okay, so I need that in there, and I need the DL. I need the DLL when I distribute, or does the DLL to get the?
No, you would, yeah. So from a distribution point of view, you'd have your EXE, obviously. And if it was multi-DLL, then it would be your EXE and your DLLs. But yeah, basically you would need that. You would need the manifest for your application, which is the next one down. You'd need the manifest per control that you are using the Reg3Com on. So if you was using this and the CodeJot calendar, you would have your application manifest and the Chilkat manifest and the CodeJot calendar manifest. So you would have a manifest per control. And obviously, last but not least, you would need the controls. So the Chilkat DLL or the calendar OCX or whatever. And that's what you need. So it sounds very complicated, but in essence, you was already there. It was literally you just didn't have the file in there. If you weren't using Reg3Com and you had the control registered, it would have actually still worked. Because it would have registered itself elsewhere in Windows when it was installed. But that can mask that causes more questions, not problems, but that's more distribution questions that we used to get. Whereas with Reg3Com, this is all encompassed and so on.
Okay. Now, what question, final one, would be when I package my app and distribute it, I don't want to use, the customer needs to get their own Twilio, correct?
Yes.
So what's the process for that now? Do I need to parameterize certain fields to let them fill those in so that my app will work for them on their money?
I would, yeah. Just let me show you, making sure I'm not, making sure I mask it. Won't be a second, just on my screen.
do you need to see my screen any longer, or I can stop showing?
No, you can stop the share and so on. I'm just checking. That's okay. I can show you on mine. Yeah. So I'll take back on mine. I'll just show you how I've done it on mine.
Okay.
Okay. So we seem to show this weekly, and it's not a plug because it's a commercial app and so on. But I don't mind divulging any tips and tricks I do in my apps. I don't mind divulging to you guys and so on. So we all get more experience. So in here, it's got a calendar and so on. So obviously you have reminders for your appointments and so on. Now we use Twilio for this. So in the system configuration, under text messaging, I just store and have them prompt in their ID and their token.
Great. Okay.
So
and is that stored in a file?
Yeah. That's it happens to be SQL, but it's just a data file. Could be anything you like. It could even be an INI. Although I wouldn't do really because it's you really want that stuff hidden or encrypted. But you could do the encryption with the Chilkat stuff. You've got the library there to add any level of. Actually, I think I do actually store them encrypted, so nobody can get to. I'll put them in a 256-bit encryption. But it's all these things like that, which we can cover in other webinars. Are literally just one-line commands. Very simple.
Is this? I'd like to pitch you for an enhancement to add this to like your sample app. That would be awesome, because then I could just pull that right in, because I'm not really a hand coder guy. I do write a little code, but that would be nice in a form in the field. Yeah.
What I will do, because there's we potentially might be starting another apprentice and so on, and I might task them with actually brushing up the Noyantis demo app, because we do have a fully built demo app which includes all of the controls and so on and so forth. But it's got out of date, if truth be told. So it might be actually worth doing that. That said, we do under our training workshops. Nope, not that. Oh yeah, apps. I'm sure we did something like this in the September. Was it September 19 when we did the workshop? I'm sure we actually did something like this in one of the workshops. Oh, crikey, that'll be wanting the controls. I've been just doing the reg free com settings today. So I've made sure I purposely, to test the reg free comms working, I unregister everything. So basically it ensures the reg free com works. Let me just bring one of these back. I can't remember what version it uses. Won't be a second.
Okay.
No, I can't remember what version that uses.
Okay.
I'll try one. Maybe something like I'll have to open it. Well, anyway, we need to move on. But basically, I'll see about getting this a version of this released as a demo app for people to take a look at. But this, it also encompasses quite a lot. But it is very similar in the approach to where's Schedule It go? To our Schedule It app. So it's very similar to this in the look and the feel and the implementation. But that also has little tables so you can store the Twilio settings and then send SMS reminders out and things like that.
Right. Okay. This Schedule IT is something that you develop for your customers, or is it something that you market?
Well, we need to market it. It's in dev at the moment. That's not quite true. It's actually installed at 3 places. But it's in its beta program, and it's this where we're just adding the user definable forms, which we'll cover this next week on how we accomplish it, that kind of thing.
Right.
It's where it's like questionnaires, if you will, so that you can actually have users do dynamic questionnaires.
Okay, so this is going to be something that you're going to mark it as a template solution or compiled?
It's going to be compiled. Yeah, but
Okay.
I've been asked a few times. We definitely digress, but I've been asked a few times if we do the equivalent of like source code, obviously.
Yeah.
Basically app solutions, but as starting points and so on and so forth. It's not something we've really thought of. We do via the training and so on, because we have you create that particular application.
Right.
So it might be that might come in handy for you. But let me have a think on that.
Something like this, the scheduling would be great because mine is a medical claims, and right now I use your calendar, so I like the look and feel of this one. Mine is more just what comes out of the box, but this one's got a nice interface.
This is well, it's not necessarily medical claims, so don't worry, we're not clashing, so to speak.
It's
more
healthcare.
Diary and appointment, but against a patient.
Patients, could be customer.
Well, behind the scenes, it's actually a client, because this will go into many places. But yeah, you can store your medications, you can store we're just doing the forms.
Super.
So it's like their medical forms or their things like that.
Great. Yeah, I like it.
Okay, right. All right,
good. Well, thank you so much.
That's 1 out of 1 so far. That's good. I can take that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Andy. Great work. Bye.
So now I'm just going to, you've got that. So now, Bill, so I'm just open. Bill, your microphone's open. Are you there?
Hi, Andy.
Hi, Bill.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hi.
Yes. So are you in a position where we can see your screen and you can tell us basically what you're trying to achieve, and then we can see about how we achieve it?
Well, if you wanted it to use your demo application, because I basically, if I'm able to reproduce everything that you have on your demo, and all I want to do is on the docking pane, be able to take the browse box on the left and have the form open on the right side.
Okay. So, okay. I see where you're going. Just going to get because I know you emailed through another update. It's the app, that is. So I'm just going to save that. Do you mind if I open that application for us to all take a look at?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay.
It's in a form of trying all different things, so.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so webinars. Got an application, requires a people. So I take it that's just one of the Clarion examples dictionary.
Yeah, it was in that zip file I gave you too. It was put in there also.
Yep. So it's not. Hang on, yeah, it was there, and it is there, but is it a Clarion 11? I take it or something.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. No problem. Okay, and let's get a compile and see what we're looking at.
You could remove the the template for the preview, if that's still in there.
Okay, so you're on here. Is that what we're on?
Yeah. So now,
Oh. No, hang on. It's now that's probably not initialized because let me take a look here. Yeah. One tip for everybody: if you're using the specifier, the reg-free com won't work because it needs a predefined version, so it knows what content to actually manipulate. So I'm actually going to just tell it to use a dedicated version, and I'll make sure that's registered. Hang on, did that do that? Just do that as a admin. Normally these are registered, but today I was doing some testing for reg-free com, so I made sure that no controls were registered at all. Okay, so we've got 19.2, that's fine. We've got docking pane, it will be registered, so we don't have to worry about that. Don't know if there was a license in there. Did you put a license in?
yeah, I put in mine.
Okay, I won't show it, but I'll just turn that off a second as well, so we don't upset anything.
Yeah, I was having issues without the license. It was locking up and...
Still not, we've got some panes, but we haven't got the content on there. So what we need from there then, so we've got...
it's the one above it. Yeah, right there.
Okay. Okay, so we've got a docking pane. Now, is that a positioned pane? Yeah, that's a positioned pane, and that's a positioned pane. So I take it you wanted.
Yeah, what's the difference between the two? I didn't know what I kept just trying all different panes, trying to figure out what they do, but I couldn't.
Okay, so basically that's I can tell that's a positioned pane because it's got options on there to attach to a parent, whereas if it was docked, it wouldn't have that, and so on. And I take it that's the same, is it?
They're both position ones because I went to it, made them both position yesterday to try to see if that solved my problem.
Okay, so what are we trying to achieve? We're trying to have the browse over here and the form active on the right. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right. The only, I mean, we can do that. The only thing I would say on that is you're gonna put an extra workload because as you navigate through the browse, you're gonna have to keep that form. Yeah, basically that when the form starts, it's going to be off on its own thread. Which is fine, you can do that, but you're going to end up sending notifications between the two.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was wondering if there was any way to not make it threaded.
It does have to be threaded only because it needs to know when it can't. Yeah, basically it has to start on its own thread. Once it's initialized, it then tells the window, the docking pane manager that it's initialized and it can take control of that window. But it has to do it on its own thread. So the child windows do have to be threaded. Now, there's absolutely no problem. I mean, I'll leave this open actually, but we have now, it's not an update form, but it is related information. We mentioned the one there a minute ago with the patient. Now I've got a pane at the top, and it happens to be a hosting a report control, but it could be a browse. There's, that's exactly the same. So we've got
this is exactly what I wanted to do, which is showed me here, where you have the browse on top and the form on the bottom.
Well, that's not
instead of top to bottom.
Yeah, that's not necessarily a form. These are equivalent of read only at the moment. This is just basically a related information window. So we can see basically as I'm going through here that it's going to reset. So it's not necessarily a form. It's just a related information, but there's nothing stopping you doing that exact same approach. But I wouldn't have it as a Clarion Windows form. You could still have it on there and just have an update button, so it goes off fetches the record, which you can see we're doing as you're going through. Have it fetch the record and let them change it and press an update, and hey presto, you have in effect created an update form. So you can do that, but how it works is that has to send messages to that pane. So they're on separate panes. This is a window in its own right. So I can walk you through this approach, and don't worry, all this is recorded. So this recording will be up later tonight / tomorrow morning, so you won't miss out on anything. But I can walk you through how we do that in my app. Yeah. So let's jump into. Just going to jump into schedule it then. To go back to your question though, what's the difference between docked and positioned? Docked will take over all of the window space. So if that was docked and it was only declared that big, it really doesn't matter because you're saying it's docked. So it will take over all of the client area. It then takes responsibility for the whole of the client area. But if it's positioned, it will refrain itself to just those coordinates. And obviously if it resizes accordingly as well. But it basically it works, it stays within those constraints of that. So that's the difference between docked and non-docked, if you will, and positioned. So, and that's the same for lots of the controls. So docked, I normally, I've got to admit, use docked because I want it to take charge of the client area. But that said, again, in schedule it, for instance, where we wouldn't use that, we would use a positioned one. So in here, as I've said, we are, and it's in dev now, but we've got it where you might let the user create a questionnaire. So they're going to create a questionnaire. First question is a name, and they're expecting some text, and the second question is a date of birth, that kind of thing. Now, that's going to be presented. If I just jump across to here, I'm going to leave this open actually in a second. That's going to be presented on a Clarion form. If I had a form on there, no I don't. And I'm going to have that here. So basically, that's where we'll select the form that we want to use. That then will paint a property grid with the content. Well, it's going to be twofold actually. It's going to be a property grid, or it's going to be a HTML form. There's going to be a couple of ways that it can be presented to the user, but that's kind of irrelevant. The actual hosting of it is going to be either a property grid or a HTML viewer editor, sorry, but it's going to be viewer, but it's going to be in a positioned docking pane, because one of the options the user has is, as they are setting up the questions, they can give themselves HTML help tips, and I want that to be able to unfold. So for novice users, they could have the help on show at the same time, and for for experienced users, they can just have that pane docked away, and they don't really have to worry about that being on show. So they get more user area. So that's a reason why I would use a positioned there.
Okay. Understood.
So to jump back to how we did this, let's rewind back a little. Someone's going to take us out of that example. Let's jump into schedule it. And we're going to jump. See, I've come out. I've got to stop coming out. It's force of habit because we're deving all day on it. I naturally do. So basically, I have an overall host window, and we covered this in some training. I think you've been on the training as well, if memory serves. You have an overall host window, which hosts a task panel on the left and basically the working panes on the right. One of which is our patient list, our client list. So on this window, and this window starts on the top left there to the bottom right over here. So on that window, I have a report control, as you can see. I have a command bar using for filtering, and I have another command bar up there, basically for the actions that you the record actions and the overall actions that you can do, that kind of thing. And I also have as you probably saw, I have a field picker for our report control, all hosted in different panes. Then it comes to this at the bottom. Now this at the bottom, the related information, is actually it's on a pane, but it's actually another Clarion procedure running on its own thread, and it takes all the notifications from the record that you're on. So every time I click on a record, I send a notification across with the record ID of what I'm currently on. That's a bit of background. So we'll jump into this, which is ultimately what you want to replicate and see. So we go to our browse clients. Yep. Here's the window design. So as mentioned, I have a report control. I've made it visually look like so. I didn't have to, because the docking pane is going to take charge of all of this. So, yeah, I mentioned we have the report control. What I also have is this window also hosts its own docking pane. So as well as being a child of another pane, it's also a parent of its own panes, e.g. this one down at the bottom and this one on the right, that kind of thing. So we are diving in to a particular depth here. So if we look at our extensions, we are see you tomorrow, Wango. Thank you. We are a child of the overall applications docking pane manager, and we've said at that level we can be used as a piece of content, and we want to hide the title and things like that. So let's just quickly check those settings. Yep, hide the client area. Not that one. That one. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Yeah, we can be used. Hide the title, so on and so forth. All the usual things we have. But we've also on our screen, as well as our command bars and our report control, we've got our own docking pane control. So if I go onto that screen, we can see somewhere up here, probably, got our report control, got our field picker, got our command bar. Oh, and we've got our, there you go. That happens to be the command bar. The docking pane. So that's the docking pane. And as I said before, it can be dead small because that is a docked docking pane. So that's going to take charge of the entire client area of the window. So this is where we want to look at our settings, our very first settings. So we're going to say, okay, we've got 3 panes. We've got a report control. RC is report control internally for us. So we've got a report control. It's open by default. We don't allow the user to move it around. So we just want this to just be up here. Bear in mind, if you're using command bars, you don't have to have, the command bars don't go in the docking panes. They coexist with the docking panes. So there's a setting where you make them aware of each other. That's why I haven't got panes for the command bars, because command bars do not go in docking panes normally. They can do under special circumstances, but they don't normally have to. So I've got the one for the report control at the top, and I've given it basically 85% width by default, 70% height by default, and its docking directions left. Go to our content, and it's hosting a report control. So that's perfect. Got our report control. To the right of that, I've got the field picker for that report control. So again, now slightly different. I do allow it to be hidden and so on. I said that the width's 17.5%, want it to be full height, and it docks to the right. And that's what you've just seen it do there. It docks to the right, and it'll come out so far, and it'll go back. So that gives you those 2 panes. And then last but not least is I have our related information. So I have a related pane. Okay, now down at the bottom, I've said, oh, sorry, I digress on the field picker. I have said on there, its content is a code control and it's a field picker. Okay, following me so far?
Yes.
Cool. Yours at the top would be a browse. Could be a report control, of course, but it would be a browse or something like that. So I've got the related at the bottom. And we've got some particular items, as the height and so on. I've said I want it to be the bottom of the report control. And then we come to the content. And then basically this is where I'm saying I'm going to open a child procedure. And I've called it browse clients _ related, because that's our related information. Passed it some parameters. I want basically to pass what the parent thread is. So what I am. I want to tell it, I forget what that parameter is, I'll have to have a look. Related. Oh, it's a pane it belongs to. I'll show you what that is in a second. And the selected client by default. As it opens, I want it to know what client is selected at the top. So with it being a start, because it's a thread, you're only allowed to send 3 parameters. So that's a 3 that I'm sending. That then, when it opens, will open this procedure. So on here, I've obviously got my docking pane content management, and I tell it you can be used as a piece of content, so on and so forth. The extra parameters, like the thread and the pane, that is where these are going to be used. So that basically my plan, I don't want to digress too much, but my plan is this related pane, I'll also be able to use exact same procedure. I'll just start it twice. I'm going to add it to the calendar here. So as you're navigating around the calendar, I can have a related pane to the person in the appointment. So I could be on, Mr. Smith there, and I would see all the related information for Mr. Smith. So now I'm getting to the point where I'm reusing this multiple times in the procedure, in the application. And I'm doing that, and I'll pass in which parent you want to belong to. So I can pass in the parent thread and the parent pane ID and make sure that it marries up to the correct parent.
Where do you get those from?
I passed them with 2 parameters a minute ago. So I passed them as the pane ID happened to be the name of the pane I'd defined, so related, that kind of thing. So I could say I want you to ensure that you are, the pane related, and the particular that would be something like, So basically that would be parent pane, P parent pane, and P parent thread number. That's what I would put into there. P parent pane, P parent thread number. But we've just not added that bit yet, so I'm not overly panicking in putting that in just yet. So then we come to the content of this window. I have got some entry fields, as you can see here on that first tab. So, yep, that's kind of like an update form, if you will, on the client. I do have some tabs, and on here I have report controls, as you can see. So they could be browsers, just related information, and I also have some notes. So that's just a clarion text. But the real key comes, and there's just a couple of embeds that we really need to focus on in order for you to achieve what you're after here. Is when it first opens, it gets a parameter P parent record ID. So let's just follow through our initialization, if you will. So I store so I'll put them in. Okay, so I've got LV, which is local variable. But in internal, we have LV and RV for routine variable and things like that. So LV parent record ID. So I've got that. I would have thought I would have got that client record as well. Refresh childless. Oh, it must just call that. That's fine. So I've got a local procedure, and what I'm doing in here is I go in. I call it with a parameter. So I go and get the record that I want to go and update, if you will, and display. So I get that. I go and get some related information, so on and so forth. And then I'm doing a case statement on what the active tab is, and I'm refreshing accordingly. Okay, that is actually a bit of an overkill because now the actual template, the report control actually does that for you. But so in the next time you see this, I will actually update this because we don't need to do this. The template now takes care of that for us. So that's the kind of thing there. Now, a couple of other things we need. The window opened. So this is basically the docking pane. Now we are in the child window, so we're on this related window, if you will. And there's two important embed points. One is once the window's been opened. So what this means is you've now been opened, and have you been docked? No, it's just been opened. Not necessarily been docked yet, but you've been opened. That's fine. So what I want to do there, now I know it's been opened and the parent docking pane knows about it, then what it will do is it will go off and refresh the child list, which you just saw a second ago, that local procedure. And that's just getting records and displaying. The other is where it's taking notifications from its parent docking pane. So we've got a take notify in here. And I have basically my own notify code called reload related. You could have, it's just a code. So that's just an equate I've set up. You could have any number you like there. So basically I've got an equate. I wonder if it'll even tell me. Oh, thought the tooltip might tell us. But basically it's just a number. It's just a notification code. So I know that. I then set my LV record ID to the parameter that's come in, because this take notify receives the notify code, the thread it came from, and the parameter. So I can say, okay, I'm not really bothered about what thread it's come from. I'm already initialized as a child of that particular thread, so that's already taken care of during the initialization. So I just say, okay, the local record is now this, and go and refresh accordingly, kind of thing. So that's that. The only other thing you need to do on that, in all honesty, because I don't think there's really anything much in there. No, sheet related data, new selection. Yeah, you don't need to do any of this. Oh, that's switching command bars. We actually have you should probably notice there, we have a command bar, and we have command bar with multiple bars on it. So as you switch through the bar, it hides one bar and displays the other bar. But it's not different bar controls. There's only one command bar initialized. It just happens to have multiple bars, but they basically, we just hide and show. So by setting, we put them as part of a collection, and there's a setting in the command bars to say, when this bar becomes visible, hide the other bars in the collection, which is exactly the effect that you see in here. So it looks like you've got lots of command bars, but in effect, you've got one control with multiple bars. That's a little trick that you see in there, set bar visible. You see, in the fullness of time, I'd like that to be tied directly into the docking pane and the report control and so on, but that's, baby steps. So we've got the receiving of the parameter. The only extra thing we wanted to do is in our browse. Now it's a report control, but if it was a Clarion browse, it'd be is it take new selection? I think it's something like that. It's a while since I've used them, to be honest with you, but it'd be something like that. In ours, it would be row selected. So I would go to my report control, which is the actual the client report control. Yours will be your client browse or whatever browse. That receives a parameter of what I've just clicked on. So that's just the record I'm on. And then basically I'm using the docking pane manager to send a notify to a child window. So I'm saying, okay, send notify to a child window. There's the name of the procedure that is running on that child window, which is what we had a second ago. That's our code, which was our case statement, and that's the active record that I'm currently on. And that should let you achieve what you're after. That is what you're seeing here. So as I'm navigating through, that's sending notify across, receiving and refreshing.
All right, good. I follow. Thank you. I think I could take care of that now. The only thing, if you could just go over with me, is I couldn't get the way you have these so docked very nicely. I couldn't achieve that.
Okay. Let's jump back.
When you go back to my application, you'll see that they were just actually what was happening is, even though I said one was left and the other was right, they were both showing up on the left.
Got you. Okay. So there's a little trick. What we do there So I'm going to jump back to the docking pane, which is running at the overall application level, because obviously we've got one pane open here, the patient's pane, and we are looking at it. That might have other magic going on, so to speak, but that's totally irrelevant. We're just looking at a Clarion window here, the patient one. If I was to go to our form definitions, which we've just been working on, that's another Clarion procedure running, and form types and locations and that kind of thing. You get a slight delay when it first opens, but if we were to go back to any of them, there's no delay, it's instant. Okay, so if I go to medication, we'll get the slight delay again. And that's just while it's initializing. And what that is we're going to jump back a level here. And I'm going to go to the main application itself. If I can find it. There it is. So I have the application frame, and I do start a dummy window. And I always say about this in the training and so on. It's just easier to work with than adding stuff to the application frame. In some respects, the frame will restrict you. You still need it because it handles all your MDI events and so on and so forth. So you still need that application frame, but you need it literally for nothing more than those kind of activities. So I have a dummy window, and that is that, believe it or not. So the way we achieve it is we've got a few controls. We've got our docking pane, that's the heart of it. I happen to have command bars, which is here across the top with our buttons and our pop-ups and so on. So we've got that. I have a task panel, which is the navigation on the left. I have a report control. You don't see it, I just use it because I have that initialize our reg-free conference. And we have a calendar, and again, you don't see that because I have that initialize the reg-free com. But not only that, I have it initialize the colored themes as well. That's a subject for another day, but I have it. It's a little tip you can do. The key you want is all to do with the docking pane and the content here. So we've got a docked control. Okay, and you'll see for all of our main panes, so these are the first parent options, if you will, then I'll have a pane defined. So I have our navigation on the left, which opens, opens to the left, particular size, and it hosts our task panel. So that takes care of the navigation on the left. I have a dashboard, which when you first open, is visible, and that is to the right, and it's to the right of the navigation. So that's how we get our left and right. So we've got our navigation, our nav pane, which we had a second ago, there, to the left, and this is open to the right of nav. Now, one thing I need to explain here. On here, we've got dashboard, but we're using this collection. Now, that means nothing to code jock and so on and so forth. This is purely to do with our templates. We've said that is part of a collection, and that word can be anything you like. It could be ABC, XYZ, whatever you like. I call it work because I always refer to this area on the right as the work area. I have it as title, navigation, work. And inside of a window, I'll have title and actions, title, actions, sub-actions, filtering, and work. So I'll always refer to it in that kind of manner. Make it be it right or be it wrong. So I've got a collection called work. I'll look at my options here, and the bottom two is what you're interested in. First one is auto hide other panes in collection when selected, which means if any other panes what are part of the work collection open, then this is going to hide automatically. And the second one is don't open child contents until selected. And that's because let's just jump back there. There's lots of panes there. Okay, quite a few.
Right.
Now imagine if me opening the application, by default it went and opened, what was it, 17, 18, maybe 20. It went and opened 20 different screens. It would take ages to initialize, and I'm not going to go and maintain my zip codes. I'm not going to go and maintain my cities or my patient types. I'm not bothered about any of those. So I don't want it to initialize. I just want it to only initialize them when it first opens, and that's why you get that slight delay. So, e.g. now, I'll click alerts, slight delay. It's opening it. That you see. Now after that, once it's open, it's instant because it's there. It's floating around in limbo, if you will. It's there. It's just not focused. So that's that. So they're the main two options you're after. So if I look at any of these now, my appointment book, I want it hidden by default because I don't have them go to that. I have them go to a dashboard type area when they first open. So this pane is hidden by default. It's part of that all important work collection, and those two are ticked. So hide the others and don't open until you need to. And last but not least is have them attached. So it attaches, and the first one in my work area is dashboard, so I have them all attached to dashboard. So I can click on any one of these. You tell me when to stop, and out there you go. I've just there stop, and there we go. Oh no, could argue that's hidden. That should be hidden by default. I'm going to put that in hidden. Last two, and attached to dashboard. Got to check that's right. And hidden to dashboard, and that is the key. And that's really it. Once you've got that, you end up with this effect. So as you're going through your options, you will get them open.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. A lot of information, I think, enough to get me at least over this hump and onto the next one. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely no problem. It's we and I do apologize, and we have got some documentation. We desperately need more. I'll be the very first to admit it. But we have, young Ben, who is not in today. He's been doing some, but it's still really the class stuff. And once he's got them, then he's going to be documenting up the template interfaces. It'll take time, but it will at least be progress. So they are, and I genuinely do prove that they are there. They're not a. There's been a myth for such a long time. Where's our masters? Our help. And we can go into, don't really matter, we'll go into docking pane. And class exports. PDF's going to be the easiest, isn't it? So, but basically these
I saw this. It was just on the class, but it didn't go through the template. So that's where I was.
But we are doing the exact same. We used to explain for this, and the exact same is going with the templates. So yes, so they are in hand. But this Monday meeting is by far the, because you can turn up and you can go, you might get some of this, but just have one funny where you've missed a template setting, and it'd be a case of how Andy, why in this working? I could quickly look and go, you forgot to say hide the collection, that kind of thing. So these are the types of questions that we ideal for these scenarios.
Understood. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. And this video will be put onto that YouTube area that you sent me a link to?
Yep. Well, it goes automatically because it's live on Clarion Live. So it's on the Clarion Live feed on their YouTube channel. But the minute this finishes, which we're going to wrap up in a minute actually, once we finish, what we will do there is we run a convert to take it out of GoToMeeting format. Probably leave it running overnight now because it takes a couple of hours, to be fair. So in the morning, it'll be uploaded.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Andy. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely no problem. So glad we got there in the end. So I do watch, as I said, the docking pane. There'll be a docking pane release, which I do recommend you go for. It might be tomorrow afternoon after I finish, because we're just doing the. Maybe I'm too honest at times, but we're just doing this bit. This I will demonstrate next week. This will be really exciting. questionnaires done in such a way where the users can define their own questionnaires, and you might want to put them out to the web or put them out to a PDF engine, put them on a pad, put them on the screen, that kind of thing. So we'll demonstrate some of that next week.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okie dokie. Right, well, with no other questions, we're kind of on time-ish, so we are going to wrap it up at that. So,
Thank you. Have a great night.
okie dokie. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks. Bye.